Here.
Hanson.
Here.
Manston.
Yes.
Wisniewski.
Here.
Ripon.
Here.
Ernst, Miller. We have a quorum.
Okay. We have a moment to record the minutes, and I'll take a motion to approve the minutes from the 24th meeting, which seems like an eternity ago.
Motion to approve.
Motion is made, is there a second?
Second.
Everyone? Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Discussion items. Friendship program, turn that over to Ashton.
Yeah. So, I guess I'll start from the beginning. So, when we had created the Senior Activity Center / Recreation Assistant position, this, I guess, wasn't in mind, the internship. And then with Christine being hired,
We did
Oh,
hire.
I'm sorry.
We did hire a
Christine.
senior
sorry,
activity center director, Christine
Yes.
Boyce. So she started last Wednesday.
Yes.
So she's on board now. Yeah.
yes, yeah, sorry.
Is that full time?
No, it's part-time, so about 20, 29 hours a week.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I forgot.
Right.
Yeah, so with Christine being hired, we decided that we would add an internship program to the rec department so I could have some assistance specifically for rec programming. Christine is very educated on fundraising and grants and whatnot and what she's worked on in her past experience, so she can help out with the senior center and the rec department on all of that. But this person would specifically be for operations, programming, and project development aid. So we sent it out to the college, and so far we have 2 applicants, and they are both in they're both in the field that we were aiming for, like the HHPR, health and youth performance, and I think they're both seniors too. I know we were looking specifically for someone who could be there. It's negotiable, but who could be there the whole entire year, so I'm not re-explaining myself after semester 1 to another person. So yeah, that's just a little bit about the program. So, I don't know if Adam has anything to add to that.
Yeah, we kind of unveiled this, we just like your blessing on it. If you are okay
Yes.
with it, the overall budget impact is minimal. It's probably $1,000, give or take. Just we do pay the interns, although it'd be, they have to, I think, do at least like 8 hours a week to get like the minimum credit. So they can't get credit for it as well. This is mirrored off of the management internship program that I run out of City Hall. So we would just sort of mimic it and try to just bring a little extra support in for everybody up here for the year, and see how many more applicants come on board. And
It's just one person that you're looking for, or you're looking
Yeah.
for multiple? Okay.
Yeah, and it's always nice to have a connection with the college and stuff, so.
Well, it ties in with that new master's review, isn't that kind of in there too?
yeah, so they're doing a master's program in exercise science. One of their majors is exercise science and sports management type activities. So I know they have a really strong relationship with the Boys and Girls Club that during the summers and whatnot. So they get help. So we would just be looking kind of a similar position to come in a couple days a week and maybe do some independent programming, try some new things, and just relieve some pressure. Because as Ashton, what we've noticed is, you schedule a league or you schedule something, and if she has to be here, she understands that, but there are times where it doesn't work out and you don't want to cancel every time. So we kind of got to get some backup, and this would be a way maybe to get some backup to help out. So that's kind of the thought process behind it all.
Great idea.
You want a motion
Sure.
on that?
Yep.
Okay, a motion to approve the interim program as presented by Ashley.
Are you motioning or you want us to motion?
I'm obtaining motion from anyone.
I'll do the motion, who what he said.
Motion's made, is there a second?
I'll second it.
There you go.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll move on.
And Ashton, if you get somebody in, can you just let us know who might be, so we're just kind of familiar with it.
Well,
Or something, or something, so.
College kids at the store.
Right.
Playground grant opportunities?
Yeah, so today I went out on a little adventure and took pictures just of each park and essentially the damage at each park. This ranged from sun damage, just general fade, wear and tear, peeling, graffiti, all the fun stuff. So I made a little ranking. It's not much of a ranking system, but I essentially ranked them from worst to the best to see like what playground we can attack first if we get a grant. And I would love everybody's opinions too. So I just kind of put down what the damage is on each playground, and then I base it also off of like attractiveness and what brings people to that park. I'm sure you can, most of it is just paint peeling, graffiti on posts, especially in Ceresco and Selfridge, and just discoloration and sun damage is the worst of it. Except Ceresco just has a missing piece of equipment. But yes, so I ranked them from Selfridge being, to my opinion, what we would attack first on project-wise, and Murray Park being the best of the 5 so far of the parks. And just some images of the damage done, just damage from wear and then graffiti and whatnot. This is the missing, I don't know how long it's been missing, it's just a little coil there, just basic sun damage, cracks, stuff like that. And I'll flip through these images pretty quickly. So yeah, just wear, tear, all of that fun stuff. We wanted to start there so we can identify what is the best approach on which one to do first. And like, for example, if we were to get the DNR grant for Selfridge Park, do you redo that playground and just change up the whole park, or do you share the love and redo Barlow Parks, or add to it, redo whatever playground, because that one needs work. So just curious what your guys' opinions are on that.
I would think we said at our previous meeting that we wanted to focus on Selfridge Park.
Mm-hmm.
Like pick one
And do that one and then move on to the next one.
move it
instead
towards
of
the master plan.
Little helter-skelter here and there.
Yeah.
The only one that I would think that could be slipped in somewhere would be Horner, because it doesn't have a playground.
Yeah.
And it just basically needs some landscaping and a gazebo.
Yeah.
So, and I see people talking and asking about that one a lot.
Just a question, were there any safety concerns that you saw that would have to be looked at?
I didn't specifically see any. Tim does a monthly inspection of the parks too. So I looked at those two. That was also part of the ranking there. And most of it was just the peeling, and if there was anything broken, it was either, that was last year, was where I saw things were broken and they were removed or fixed, what his little comment was on there. So nothing this year has been a safety issue.
Can you go back to that spreadsheet one more time, just so I can?
Yeah, sorry.
Just kind of review
I
it
flipped
once
through
again, yeah,
quickly.
no worries. Thanks.
Mhm.
The last part we did anything major at equipment-wise was Ceresco Park.
Okay, I was gonna ask, so I went over, I figured Alan would know, but I was gonna see if Lisa knew, but she was gone today, to see like what year every playground was put in. And he couldn't find any information on it.
Ceresco was the last, prior to that was the equipment up behind the ball diamond at Barlow.
Okay, that makes sense, yeah,
Those were the last two that we replaced
yeah,
units on, so.
yeah. Yeah, that one is probably the little tiny one, that Barlow is probably the best of them,
Yeah.
all of them.
About the wood chips, because it seems like they're.
Yes, all of them, yes, yeah, yes, there's a,
That could be sweet.
Actually, the school district is, I don't know exactly what it's called, but they started a program where they're doing community, like essentially community service projects. I don't know if it'll be next week, Tuesday or Wednesday they're doing it. So they have teams of like 25 people and they're gonna do different projects throughout the city, and they're actually bringing 25-ish people to work on actually specifically the wood chips at the 5 playground. So they'll be split up in between the four playgrounds or parks I told them about. So that'll be next week. So that'll be nice.
But you bring up an important component to
Yes.
this discussion regarding how we handle the ground under the playgrounds, right? Wood chips are semi-acceptable. They're by no means accessible from an ADA perspective, or not looked at as the most appropriate or best standard. There are materials out there, whether it be
Poured in place.
poured in place,
That's the best for me.
or
Rubber mulch.
what's that?
Rubber mulch.
Rubber mulch is the alternative as well. So, you know, that's a component of this discussion that can't, you know, be forgotten, because that certainly can add cost to a project for a playground.
Like how much? 2 times, 3 times, 4 times what wood chips would cost, right?
Oh,
I would assume. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we, you know, part of the guidance here is, you know, is our goal to have accessible playgrounds, right? Is it, you know, where there's ramps and things of that nature? I think that we would certainly desire to do that. That comes along with then needing to build out the additional space to allow that to be maximized, you know, and utilized. So, frankly, in some of these cases, particularly in Selfridge and Barlow, Ashton and I talked, it would be a complete wipe clean. We would remove everything and start from the ground up. If you look at, you know, capacity, Barlow Park's area there is relatively undersized in terms of what the number of kids that can comfortably be in that play space without it becoming congested or problematic. Selfridge, I do not think sees as much use from the perspective of actual play, but from a condition standpoint, it's not great, and we're looking at investing in other aspects of that, you know, with a stewardship grant if we happen to get that. So I think those are the two that rise to the top of this as we head into the budget and talk about potential funding for these types of things. You know, I think we have to be conscious about the totality of it and what direction we want to go with, you know, everything. We're ripping it all out, or are we putting in poured in place? Are we putting in rubber, shredded rubber? I think, is it Fond du Lac or somewhere has the rubber tire instead of, you know, it's like rubber mulch versus,
Yeah.
you know, is that the
And then-
direction?
Oshkosh has the rubber like
Matt?
squishy.
Yeah.
Mat
Yeah.
thing.
The Matt.
Yeah,
Yeah, and those get to be costly, so.
and have to be replaced eventually, I would assume. At some point, and the ones in Oshkosh and Appleton still look great. I know the one in Appleton's been there for quite a few years. My son used to play in the baseball league that they have there, so. and it's still in really good condition.
Mhm.
It does last a long time,
Mhm.
but I know that it's not cheap.
Well, and the wood chips deteriorate, they get compressed.
And they have to
You
be
know, according to
constantly
insurance, I think it's
replaced.
9 inches you have to have
Yeah.
wood chips, so it's every year redoing that. You know, you got the cost of the chips, cost of the labor to do it. Versus if we can find
Put
the
it
money
down
to
once
do
and it stays there.
the rubber, you know, in the long run,
Yeah, I like the rubber, yeah. Like I said,
so it's cleaner.
you put it down and it stays there, yeah, cleaner, you hose it off.
So the one piece.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it looks like ground pieces of rubber.
Tire.
Yeah, it's old tires and tennis shoes and everything else, and then, yeah, it's like a rubber mat
Yeah.
with like
Okay, so.
cushion
even if
underneath
it's
it, like it's
pieces,
like
it's
walking
all-
up
Yeah.
a big pillow, it's kind of weird.
It would be like stuck,
Yeah.
so you
It's
couldn't.
compressed.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
Under heat to fuse together.
yeah.
yeah, it's a solid surface,
Yeah.
it looks like crumbled, but it's a solid,
Mhm.
Gives you that illusion of bark,
Yeah.
but it's not.
If we're doing one
so
at
you
a
can
time,
roll over.
we do Selfridge first, everybody else gets wood chips until we get to them, right?
Yeah, we wouldn't,
Yeah,
we wouldn't change,
Yeah.
Yeah,
kind of committed to wood chips.
yeah.
everybody is.
I mean,
Basically, the wood chips are just like an aid for weeds currently.
Well, I mean, and if we can just chip some of these trees as we take them down.
There you go.
I mean,
But they gotta be a special wood chip.
One,
It just
two,
can't be any
three.
wood chip.
Right, it's gotta be-
Which really,
We actually
they do actually.
bring in a company and they blow them in and, yeah.
Because it's been cleaned and it doesn't have
yeah.
things,
Bugs.
bugs and nails and stuff like that, so.
Yeah, so anyways, there's just different grant opportunities, like this one is the Game Time grant. So it's up to 100% matching funds through Game Time. So there's just examples of what is eligible for the grant specifically. It ranges from $75,000 all the way up to a $350,000 playground. We would be right around like the 100,000 mark, right? If we were to, I don't know if there's anything
Yeah,
specific, but
Oh,
We would
I
just
like
have
that.
100,000 plus the match.
I like the 80.
Or all in.
So I've gotten one of these before, and basically, what they do is they essentially, you see the price there, it's 50% off. So they're matching it, so if you have a $100,000 play structure, you can get it for $50,000, right? I think the minimum, structure that they require you to apply for is like, I think it's 75,000.
Yeah.
So,
I like that
So-
89 purple green one.
so there are a ton of different options. The grant cycle is very simple. Frankly, what happens with this is, you know, they're getting to the next models and it's a year end. So in lieu of just discounting, they give out grants, and it's really a sweet
That would fit
program.
the aesthetic over at Selfridge, jungle looking, I feel like.
Yeah.
So picking,
Yeah.
but this gets back to the point of, right, okay, all of these play structures, if you click on one of them, so that one, if you go down, it'll show you kind of a spec here, 5 to 12 years old,
oh, wait, sorry.
and
Oh,
45
there
to
it is.
50 kids, right? So, and then if you go to like, if you go to the top view, it's down there to the right.
This one?
No,
No, that's not.
I mean, that's
it's
all.
the download right there, top view,
Oh my god,
right there. Right by
no.
your-
Oh. Sorry.
What it shows you, downloads, what it shows you is the
Yeah.
required play area around it
Okay.
for proper clearance. So you kind of get an idea of, okay, 31 by 35 is required for that play structure.
Okay.
We need the right size,
Yeah,
right? And Selfridge probably, from the perspective of an overall use and whatnot. Something around that size or a little bit different than that would be adequate.
Yeah,
Barlow, you probably need a far larger facility that mixes in different age groups and whatnot. So, so there is a strategy or some thought behind what you would have to pick. But if you apply, there's a good likelihood that you get the grant. If you get the grant, then you gotta install it, and that comes into play then everything else.
So, our guys have worked with, I believe it's Berg on Fond du Lac, so they're used to those, but I'm sure,
The Burke ones you said?
yeah.
That's actually what's here. They actually have a fall sale going on,
Okay.
but I just found that today.
The last one we bought down at Ceresco Park, we spent a little over 22,000. So give everybody an idea of what we did on our last purchase. And that was a while ago.
and that's a
So,
pretty good size.
yeah, you know, so
Like that
these
whole-
prices are right there.
The red one?
Yeah.
The one with the climbing volcano
Yeah.
and that.
Yeah, so, just kind of, we want like a cohesive park look instead of like, where it looks like
Hodgepodge.
Ronald McDonald designed this one and then someone, Forester designed, it's green, they're just all different colors and, yeah, so we want a cohesive look. Yes. And not in each park, not like they all have to match, but like
Right.
each park has like a theme or something of that sort.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, like Selfridge, you know, nice
Yeah.
earth tone coloring and
Yeah,
that stuff
yeah.
because of the water and that's there.
Yeah.
Barlow.
And there's
Round
more
fun.
trees, right? And some there's more trees, we wouldn't want a shade thing.
Yeah, no, we
Yeah, I
wouldn't
don't
necessarily
think we
need
need
one
shade
with
one.
shade on
But I
it
mean,
itself
that, at this,
either.
where it's placed, what kind
Yeah, it's pretty shady.
Ceresco might want a shaded one.
And you can change colors, so
Yeah.
they ask you what color you want,
Yeah.
and they pretty much can, it doesn't have to be that color, you can pick a different theme or color, so it's,
And I know sometimes they have units that were ordered and then the people backed out, so it was sitting with it. Sometimes they give you a better deal on those.
There's
Because
a-
that's what we did with the one up at Barlow.
there's a clearance section as well, but those aren't eligible for.
For the grant,
Yeah,
right.
I imagine that.
Of course that makes sense.
Yeah, so that's all I had for that specifically.
No, definitely, it looks good.
Given the space and the area that we're maybe looking at, can you like whittle it down to what you think would be a couple of good recommendations as we move forward? That
Yeah.
would fit what we're looking for and the dimensions that we have? So,
Yeah.
That'd be great. So,
And then if the Boys and Girls Club kids are gonna go to Selfridge, it might need
Yeah.
something,
And it's something that we wear too, right?
It's close enough that
Increase
they can
usage.
use it.
Goes hand
well,
Yeah,
over
that they
the,
could
You
use
can
it.
always add up
right.
if the usage is there, you know.
Yeah, there's a million different, you know, you don't want to build it too small. You can always add things to make it more attractive. There are some pretty comprehensive play structures in here that, I mean, if we commit to this and do it right, I think we will get a very nice end product and not have to add a bunch of $8,000 pieces to make the park
To
look
finish
full,
it later.
you know?
Yeah,
So.
do it right the first time.
I think that's the goal, and so I think from this, we'll kind of go back and review some options and bring forward some ideas and see what we can fit into a budget, and maybe apply for a grant.
Is there a timeline on the grant that we need to be aware of, or is it just?
It's on there.
Is it?
Yeah, September, mid-September
September, October.
is the
Okay.
Knowles Nelson, I believe, is September.
So we'd have another meeting, you can take a look at that. Just keep us updated.
Oh,
There, October 20th.
Sweet. Okay.
So, my other question, because I knew, is I know we have the master plan now, and, you know, and that's what we're working towards. Do we have a time frame for the master plan?
No.
I don't think there's anything,
There's nothing.
yeah, specific or set in stone. Yeah, there's like on the master plan, it has
Just
like
wanna know how long I
Yeah.
have to wait for the
predicted
state plan.
dates.
MSA threw
But that
dates on
doesn't
it
mean
just.
that that's actually gonna happen at that.
Right.
by that time, yeah.
Some aspects of the master plan are immediate, right?
Right.
Some aspects are 20 years out, right? And some aspects are directly related to funding opportunities. So, so little by little, I think from Selfridge's perspective, if all of a sudden we get a stewardship grant and we put in a new play structure, that's pretty
Yeah,
much
pretty
done,
much done.
like in a couple years. But beyond that, there's a lot of other things, and we'll talk about it.
I know that Selfridge is kind of the, almost the smaller of the projects in a way, you know, like Barlow is a much bigger project and.
Yep.
So that's why I was just wondering if.
We're doing some of it now, you know,
Yep.
with the trails and whatnot. So we just got to capitalize on funding opportunities and not make a bad decision to put something in that we're going to rip out later.
And I'm assuming this is you can't do this every year with the stewardship grant, right? Is there certain?
Well, you can apply.
Stewardship is every 2 years application, so
Okay.
we can apply if we don't get it, I believe. This is an annual thing that
It is,
anytime comes
okay.
out, but I think they do have a thing where if you've been awarded one, they don't just let you keep going
Doing it
back.
over and over
So
again.
you do it every year, right?
Yeah,
I'd
that
say
makes,
yes, let's do it.
yeah, that makes, yeah, I'm like, so we're putting in Barlow's at the end of next year, right, you know?
Good plan.
But there are other companies that do offer opportunities like this. And obviously, is it Burke?
Burke.
Yeah, they're out of Fond du Lac. This company's out of a different area.
They're in the cities, aren't
Yeah, somewhere.
I think they're up in Minnesota area.
Yeah, but they got some cool stuff too, where you can do they give grants for like more fitness type stuff and other things like that. So it's a pretty popular thing, but good program.
Yeah, no, that sounds cool.
Great, thank you.
Let's see what you can bring back and we move forward. Because grant-wise, not their grant, but a stewardship grant. Would you wait until 2024 if we get a grant from them, or what's your thoughts? Are you looking at applying like the Knowles Nelson in September?
If we pretty much if we get the Knowles Nelson stewardship grant for Selfridge Park, this for 2024 project, everything we discussed tonight is pretty much on the back burner, right? That takes that becomes the project we have to execute. We can then maybe decide and focus a little bit more intently on then something like this for Selfridge. If we don't get that, does that open up something like this in Barlow? I think that's what we'll sort of bring back, and hopefully by September we have a more clear direction there. But certainly that is a significant project that will take significant resources to accomplish. So some of these other things would likely take a back seat for another year.
Okay. Any other questions on this? Direction? It's not on the agenda, but you do have it in your packet.
Oh, yeah, I have it in the park, or project updates, or,
Oh, okay.
yeah. I didn't specifically write it in there, but.
All right, well, then we'll go to the budget discussion. I'll have a chance to look at it.
So we are actually, for 2024, the senior activity center and the rec department budgets will merge together. Said thank you.
That makes sense.
Today I met with Mandy to just try to, going over numbers and whatnot, and seeing what works best on, for the senior activity center and the rec department. And so it's a work in progress currently. It's not, I don't have it completely finished yet, but My brain is not working like
Too many numbers.
Yes. I saw it and then, ooh, there goes my thoughts.
So this is just where we are
Yes.
for this
Yes.
year, right? Like,
Yes, yeah.
And you can see we're over and we're under in a couple areas,
Yeah.
being a new department. And I think the intention here is, you know, that's, I think, the
Rough
kind of
draft.
rough draft of it. Is there anything, in the back of, you know, our minds, we're kind of heading into the budget with the idea that the stewardship grant could happen or will happen. So we'll sort of be like creating two budgets of if it does or if it doesn't. Short of the discussion on playgrounds, is there anything you want to see included in, like, in terms of priorities for the budget? I think Ashton has some things she's thought about including in that she can certainly share. But is there anything, any requests from the committee before we get too deep in that you want to see? Obviously, this part is a lot of operations, so I mean, it's like, okay, but small equipment, large capital projects, so on and so forth.
Sorry.
Depends on when you're gonna start doing the skate park. That's all. We've done the disc golf course, now my next concern is the swimming pool. Major piece.
You
I
know,
like all of it. I do know that skate parks done wrong just don't get used, so. And then that would just be a waste of a lot of money, so.
you know, and like was talking,
Not that I'm an expert on putting one in, but,
if it's moved up to Barlow, which is more visible and.
oh yeah, I
mean,
like
that-
this, I
that'll
like
make
the
a-
space and the
I think that'll make
amount,
a
the
big
amount of
difference.
space available is great. The only other thing that I would maybe add to it would be, right now, there's like this kind of a square spot. And then there's some open space next to it. You could do a snake run just through that kind of open space next to it or something like that.
Looking for a pool.
No, not looking for a pool. Not looking for a pool. Just a pump track is what they call it.
Yeah.
A pump track.
Yeah.
It's just a little track of hills that you just roll over and you just pump down. Roller skaters can use them, scooters can use them, you know, bikes can use
Is
them.
that part of the equipment thing, or is it usually made out of concrete?
Yeah, that part actually is even okay to be blacktop,
Yeah.
you know, for a pump track, because you're generally using a softer, more cruiser type tire on it
Right.
anyway, so. So yeah, it just basically like the trail to Green Lake, but with hills. So that you, little hills and curves, so that you kind of curve up the side and then float down, you know. But yeah. So that's for whenever we get started on it.
Down the road.
I think this is a good start, I don't see anything.
Yeah, I don't-
Yeah,
I'd like to see the 17 in programming, that's great.
yeah, so that would be, right now, that's 17 for, just rec, but the 17 would be for senior and rec in 2024, so far, based on this. So we're the blues, we're merging, so we're fixing a few things right now, but, work in progress.
And being first year, you know, it's a learning curve.
Yeah, you don't know what to
And that's
expect.
the thing, you just kind of ride it and see how it
Yep.
goes and make those adjustments, and you're doing a good job at that.
Yeah, we didn't have a parks department before.
So there are some smaller things that I think we have some goals on, right?
What Alan, I had a meeting with Alan and a couple of the other guys, and just for park maintenance in general, we were talking about if there was anything specific maybe we wanted to attack next year, not playgrounds, or anything like that, and I personally think we can't renovate all of them, but like the bathrooms, if we, like flooring even, what is it called, the sprinkles?
The enamel?
Just
The
Yes.
epoxy floor.
Yeah, like epoxy
I got some
flooring,
in my
something,
basement, yeah.
yeah, something so
Very
it's,
durable.
Back room, yeah.
yeah, something where it's easier to clean, because right now it's just stained, dirty, whatnot, and some, like the faucet fixtures, just like things like that just need to be improved in a lot of them. So that's what we had a discussion about, not saying we won't focus on anything else, but that, what I thought, I get a lot of remarks on bathrooms. So,
Yeah.
which makes sense.
That would be a great small project to add to the budget, with bathroom updates.
Mhm. Yeah, like I said, it won't be like a complete renovation where like these brand new bathrooms out here, but, yeah, just,
Just little updates.
yeah.
You know, I mean,
Clean them up.
Mike's last year, we did the hand dryers, we got rid of the paper toweling and that stuff, you know, to help with cleaning that aspect of it. Some new lights and that stuff.
Yeah, and nowadays lighting is so cheap, throw some LEDs up and last forever. They're super bright.
And speaking of bathrooms, we were told by MSA that this is the bathroom in here, if you didn't know about it, the door hits the toilet still, since this building's been constructed. So that is getting work done, so that's awesome. But yeah, I realized with hand dryers for outdoor bathrooms that the hand dryer out here is directly above the wastebasket. So when you dry your hands, the garbage goes. Scared me when I was trying my hands.
That's
So
a
interesting
problem,
placement.
right?
Sorry, beside the point. Sorry, that's very bad.
Yeah, so I think we'll put together some
Yeah.
numbers for some, so you can get some of the bathrooms
Yeah.
updated. I think it's long overdue in some cases.
Do we need a motion on that?
No, we'll put it in, and
Yeah.
we'll come back with sort of a final draft budget. We just wanted to get any other guidance, if there's anything small, you know, $5,000 under projects that you're like, you notice out there, just, I think contact Ashton. Talked about trying to put in some flexible pots of money as well to do just kind of one-off little projects, if need be. Not necessarily as big as like the volleyball courts, but, putting in, we talked about putting in where the horseshoe pits used to be, concrete bags.
I like that idea.
Around in parks, and, but they're about $1,800 a piece, right? But those are the things we're talking about. So if there's anything moving into the budget outside of just general operations that you all are like, hey, I'd really like to see this addressed, please provide some feedback over the next few weeks to Ashton. We'd be happy to try to incorporate it in. And then also just looking at the bigger projects.
Throw in some landscaping in the Horner Park so I can stop this and people complaining.
The horror park will get done.
I know, it's just like,
Just gotta wait.
Yeah,
people all just, oh, I used to love this part, like, it's still there.
Right. I see people there all the time.
I know, right?
With pizzas, the bags of food.
And it's
that
probably the
stop
same
in it.
people that are complaining too,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, if you look out this in the trailhead and how that's laid out, that'll be similar to what we do over there. So I mean, we'll make sure it's done up nice by the time it's all said and done. That project will be done in fall, so there'll be a trailer and everything. But
Cool.
There we go.
There you go. And see somebody complain, fall, just fall, just fall.
Just say fall.
A few more
You're
months.
with it.
Just say
fall.
sometime before the end of the year. Buy yourself some time,
There you go.
right?
But, just fall. I didn't say the cheap. Okay. Anything else on budget? Otherwise, programming updates?
Yeah, so I don't know if, I know a lot of you follow the Facebook because I see your likes all the time. But, so most of you know what's going on. I just posted today, I put it's workshop, freezer meal workshops. So I added that, it's just something small that someone actually contacted me about. It was very odd. On a Sunday, I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw somebody did freezer meal workshops and I was like, oh, that'd be really nice to add. The next morning I get an email from a lady I didn't know saying, here's the program I do in another community, would you like it there? And it was the freezer meal workshops. It was so weird. So we added that. That's for September October and November. We have a date scheduled. The co-ed volleyball league is currently scheduled. We're looking for teams. I started today, but then I didn't get to continue. I actually emailed it to the bigger businesses in town that I know they have a
I
ton
was
of
gonna say, we should get
employees.
one of the downtown businesses to like sponsor some t-shirts or something.
We can find sponsor awards at the end of the season, right?
Yeah. So I started emailing it to just businesses that have a decent amount of employees to hopefully get the more of a word out. And then the gal that I did the plein air art event with, her and I, she's meeting with, oh my goodness, knocked it over. She's meeting with me tomorrow, and we're just planning a family-friendly fall festivities day here at the end of September or October. We're finalizing the date tomorrow. The volleyball fundamentals got pushed back due to the fact that the court was getting excavated. So I'm doing a fall volleyball camp. It won't be, all my camps it's 1 day a week for 10 weeks. It won't be that due to the fact that it's gonna get cold by that time. So it'll probably be a week long. Pickleball, I am still trying to figure out a location. So her name's not coming to me. Her name's Chrissy. I can't remember her last name, but she reached out to me with Kim Shady, asking if we could add a instructional pickleball league to the community, and I was all for it. We were gonna have it at the high school tennis courts, but then lighting was an issue, and the time of the year when the sun goes down and we ran into some issues. So then I went to the college. I talked to Maddie, and then Jen Rentelman, got involved, but they don't want to overload the Wilmar Center with pickleball, so now I'm looking at the high school potentially. So I'm hoping it's going to happen. We're just trying to find a set location for it. So there's that, and then everything else, the push patrol, soccer fundamentals, tennis fundamentals, and basketball fundamentals are going really well. I get a lot of, Lindsay from the police department told me, when she was giving me a call, she let me know, she's like, thank you so much for doing the program. Like, they get so many positive remarks from the parents their kids who are participating in the program. Oh, and along with the police department, we're doing a Pops with the Cops park pop-up play. That's really hard to say.
Make it easy on yourself.
Couple less peas later.
Next week, Wednesday, Lindsay and I don't know what other officers, they're bringing popsicles. And then the library they have a bunch of outdoor games that they're renting during that week, so they're letting us use it. And then I have all the balls, soccer balls, volleyballs, basketballs, everything that the kids can play with too. So it's just an hour long, just a pop-up park play, where we can make an organized game with whoever comes, or they can just use whatever equipment they want to use and just play. So doing that, that's the extent of my list currently. Working on establishing more. Now that Christine is here, we're starting to brainstorm future programs that we can do together too. So that'll be exciting. Yes. So there's that.
It'd be nice to integrate the seniors with the youth in
Yes.
different programs.
Yeah, there's actually Mandy from at City Hall reached out to me. There's a teacher at Barlow Park that really wants to do a intergenerational program with I think it's kindergartners and the seniors. So
Very cool.
Mandy's going to connect us, and then we'll with Christine, and then we can hopefully do something with them this winter.
That's awesome.
I'll just take a step back on the pickleball thing based on the budget and everything. We need to address that within our park system, and we need to probably address it next year.
Like a place to play pickleball.
Yes, courts. It is.
I mean, I do know that people play at the high school courts. I saw a post about it, inviting new people to come down. I'm like, maybe I can. Never played it, but so
It is
Huge.
I know. I'm just wondering where we would put
It would-
we
Barlow.
The only thing up here, I'm gonna tell you, somebody who
Wind.
grew up here, the winds
Yeah.
can be horrible up here.
We
Yeah,
really
so-
need to look at Barlow Park and the basketball
Yeah.
courts and shrinking the courts
Mhm.
down.
Yep.
And
2 courts and a pickleball next to it?
you could probably, depending on how you did it, lay it out. It's frankly got to get all redone. It's a
It's
complete-
pretty
it's a
It's really
complete-
rough looking.
You're talking some big dollars. I mean, you probably need 2 basketball courts and 4 pickleball courts,
Which would
and
be about
try
that,
to
yeah.
shrink it
In
down.
that same space.
And
I don't know how much room pickleball takes up. I think
It's less than tennis.
Yeah.
I don't know, I can't give you the exact dimensions.
I've never
but
played
yeah.
it, so I didn't
Yeah.
know. So a little smaller court than a tennis court
Yeah.
though?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
think of that though, because that is, we are,
It's redesigning the basketball area to have both basketball and pickleball is probably the most.
It's a smarter way to go. I mean,
Yeah.
it used to be 4 basketball courts, and then, you know, that's slowly been weaning back. I know there was a group that played pickleball up there on the eastern court for a while, but, you know, it's in pretty rough shape. So,
Yeah.
you know, we were getting some good bounces in that.
And it can get like the current flooring, whatever you want to call it, the ground. When it rains, it gets slippery, I've been told. And then with the pine trees and everything around
get
it
the
too.
needles down.
Yeah, it can get slippery with that too.
Yeah.
And there's a nice little
sinkhole.
sinkhole in the corner.
Oh,
Yeah, took a picture.
Adventure
Cool.
pickleball.
Yeah.
Is there any way that up here, and I understand the wind, but it makes it more challenging, I'm just gonna say. I'm a pickleball player.
Go for it.
All right.
I was just looking
And
out for you.
I know, but I see there are a lot of people up here doing both tennis and pickleball. The problem is the lines. Is there any way just to get lines on the court so that
The
when you're
correct
playing-
lines planted in.
And just the lines put on there, so you have tennis and pickleball lines, since it's so different. When you try to play against anybody, you can't play pickleball in a tennis-sized court, it's not working. So
Right.
if you at least had the lines put on there,
Pickleball
just to
is
start,
different color
because
than
I
tennis.
do see people up here playing both tennis and pickleball, but
So it could be possibility. So what I did in my previous community is we just did temporary lines for pickleball because there was no pickleball court. There was just one tennis court. We made 2 pickleball courts out of it. So we literally just took painter's tape and mapped out the whole court, and then I scooted along on a little scooter and I painted it with just outdoors paint, like bright blue
Yeah, I
paint
mean, yeah.
to decipher the lines, and it honestly it looks like I just painted it still. Like it's not as temporary as I just made it sound.
the high school
But it
has
would-
both lines on there. It's-
Yeah, but it's a cheap alternative for or not alternative, but for currently
Temporary,
days.
a temporary solution at
Yeah,
least.
temporary
that
solution.
would be.
Yeah, I mean,
I have a paint roller that I use because I do the fields.
yeah.
That can also be used for that, so, we want to get together, figure it out,
You
just
guys can spray it.
mark everything out.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
this is all this is
All you
eventually
use-
gonna get redone anyway, so let's go ahead and spray it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you
Road
want,
paint anyway.
yeah, if
But
you
the
want
nice-
like nice clean lines,
Well,
that's
yeah.
why we took the painter's tape and made like the exact lines that instead of just like a spray.
As long as you get your 2-inch line,
Yeah,
do it a different
exactly.
color than the tennis court, so people know. That's-
And you can't really see the lines, but they're there. So it would be easy to like tape out and you wouldn't have to like take a tape measure out, or for pickleball you would, but not for the tennis courts apparently.
Right. Yeah, there's so many people, and it's Christy Ross was the one that, she's running a workshop, and there's like a waiting list that I was on, I got on that, she's doing like intermediate training.
Yeah.
And she's doing one next week, and so there's so many people that want to get involved in
Yeah.
pickleball in
Yeah.
our community, it's so popular, but.
That's who I was talking to. I said
Yeah,
Christy. I
it's
meant Christy Ross.
Ross. There's
Yes.
we
Yeah.
use the app, and that's how you can find out where all the games and everything are.
Yeah.
The team app.
They were telling me about that. Yeah.
Cool.
So we could.
I think we're going to get mounting pressure to do something very
Yes.
quickly.
Mhm.
We're gonna have to do
Yeah.
something, so that.
I mean, do I need to make a motion to paint lines over here?
No, we can paint lines.
Yeah.
Fine.
I'll do it.
Make a motion.
It's,
That intern
Check.
needs to know how to paint.
There's your first jump. Gotta be straight. Gotta be straight lines.
Right.
90-degree corners.
Anything else on programming updates?
No.
That should cover it.
Just a comment, it's just really nice to see all the programs that come through.
Mm-hmm.
And a good response, and the pictures are great. All right, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, director's report. Pretty much the report.
Yeah, I already covered half of it. One thing that we're now trying to figure out is for mowing and whatnot. So the summer help is leaving actually in a few weeks. So now that it's raining more and it's still warm, it's obviously it has to rain more when we're losing help. So so now we have to look into options for making sure it's mowed, because obviously it's a little, or at least out there, it's a little long right now, so it stays cut and nice looking in all the parks. So we have to work on that with Alan now, Alan and Tim and all the guys. I don't know if anybody would know the answer to it, but schools have been asking, I have two schools, one from Princeton and the other one I can't remember, he just left me a voicemail, but they've been asking to, for their upcoming school year in Princeton, they don't have an area to play soccer. So they were asking if they could host their games down there. I don't know if anybody's done that in the past, and if they did we paint the lines? Did they have to paint their own lines, or?
Well, I've always painted the lines for the high school.
Okay,
Because their JVs play down there.
okay,
So, but that's only during the soccer season.
yeah,
And if they have a JV team, if they don't have a JV team, then I don't do it. But I've got everything all corner plugged and everything, so it's easy just
oh, you do?
to paint out.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
Work smarter, not harder.
Okay, no, yeah, I was just curious if,
But
well.
yeah, that's how it's always been. The school pays me to paint it if they have
Gotcha,
that, so. And I have not heard anything from the new athletic director if they're having, or from the coach if they're having a JV team.
I heard they have 28 kids.
Yeah.
I know
It
he
just
was telling
depends
me about it
on
today, but I
what
can't.
class they're in, because you can't
Yeah.
have seniors and juniors go down and play JVs,
Gotcha.
so.
But you said Princeton and another place for looking?
Yeah, there was another school. I
Would there
feel
be
like I
rental with
can't-
that
There,
then?
you could look at renting the field out.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's why I was asking.
Okay,
I don't know
mean,
if
there's
it's
an opportunity
I
for
don't
them
think
there.
there's a precedent, so you can make them.
Has anybody gotten a schedule from the high school?
not for
For
soccer.
soccer.
So David Scott gave me the dates that he's using the field in the fall, and Vince hasn't given me the dates for soccer yet. The 80, you mean?
I'll give Steve a call tomorrow.
I have
Soccer.
it, I'll send it to you.
Oh, you are? Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
You're already calling them?
So that was it.
I have it, I got it.
But yeah, I mean, if there's an opportunity to rent it out,
Yeah,
and make some money to put back in the budget for,
Pay somebody to paint the lines.
Right.
I,
Snake cornhole.
I spent many hours of my past job painting 6 soccer fields. So if I need to, I've got the experience.
we'll get together and do it. I got the equipment. You can use the
Yeah, why
equipment,
not?
and I'll watch.
Shows good faith on our part too.
Exactly.
When we work with other DVs on it, so.
And that's what I was curious about are the big soccer goals. Are those ours? Because I know the little ones are not. So the big ones
The
are
little
ours.
ones belong to Scott's.
Yeah.
The big ones have
Belongs.
been there forever.
Okay. That was probably a good question because he probably couldn't lug those around. Okay.
That's why they're pretty much permanently mounted where they are.
Gotcha.
Is
That
there,
makes sense.
Just from sitting for so
the
long.
legal side, is there liability if people get hurt, or how, do we have to come up with some agreement that says they can use these things and, yeah,
They're
It's all
happy
part of the
contract.
rental.
Yeah,
all
or
right.
a simple rental waiver.
Yeah, whenever they,
Use it
so
for
anybody who
compensation.
reserves
Right.
like the baseball fields, there's always a
got it.
waiver they have to go past to get to them when they reserve it. So,
Insurance in place.
Yep.
Might as well use them instead of, well, instead of paying.
Yep.
So that was it for the director's report. I had said everything else.
Alright. Project update. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, so you guys obviously know that the sand volleyball court is mainly complete. The left side of it just has to be seated, but the court is complete, and the out of bounds lines are being delivered. So we will actually have a clear boundary for the league. So they're coming. The disc golf course. There's a little picture that you guys have there. So this will be the sign that will be up on the the upper shelter. It'll be a 4x4 sign just like what's there right now. And then these will be the individual lines. So I was looking at other disc golf courses and I really liked this design. So Dan helped me out and this was the end product and I think they're
Did a good job.
really
Yeah, these
nice.
are great.
Yeah,
You wanna do Wapon's?
For a fee.
I'll let you do that.
Just call Dan.
What's your fee?
Yeah,
I already
so,
got one quote, I won't tell you what it is. What's yours?
It was fun up there, Dan's going, because originally he didn't have this layout,
yes,
and
yeah,
I had brought it up to him when I talked
Yeah.
to you about the distances
Yeah.
and that. Like, oh, this makes it so much, he goes, don't go anywhere, just sit here. He goes, we're gonna put these arrows in, you know where everything's going.
Yeah.
For the directions.
Yeah.
He did a very nice job, he said he went through a bunch of different
yeah,
actual course layouts to find
Yeah, no, it looks great.
everything, and it looks very professional.
yeah, it looks awesome.
Wapon
And
Club
they,
is getting ready to pay someone a decent amount for that.
yeah, and what I did is to have the signs match, these actually match the dog waste station signs. So the font and then the green outline, so, I wanted to have like one cohesive look in the park,
Yeah,
so.
no, it looks-
Uniform.
Yes.
Looks very nice.
Yeah.
And then you guys are gonna do this separate sign underneath for the
So
for the
actually, they are
sponsors?
not doing the sponsors anymore.
Oh,
Joe decided.
I can't really tell you exactly, it just didn't happen. So yeah, so there's no sponsor, so it'll just be the sign on the post, and it'll be one of the like metal, not the wooden posts that are there right now, like a metal regular, like the dog waste station posts. So, yeah, so
That works.
they've been, I sent him this, or he sent me this and I approved it maybe a week and a half ago, 2 weeks, so, it should be produced or in production currently, so.
He just got a new machine to do a lot of this, so he's pretty excited about it.
Nice.
That's great.
Yeah, so, oh, and then it just, around the concrete needs to be seeded too, obviously, it's
Yeah.
just dirt currently. And then, it's not specifically park and rec, but it's in the park. The Senior Activity Center just got new outdoor furniture, if you haven't seen it yet, super nice.
Yeah.
Did.
Adam did a good job picking it out, back in October.
Does it match what you have at your house?
Yeah, so it looks,
It's
it's
similar to that.
super good quality and it's very nice and people really like it too. I see a lot more people coming around like eating lunch and whatnot during the day, so that's nice. Yeah, and other than that, the trail's coming along as you can see and yeah, pretty exciting. A lot of things happening.
Trail should be done in a couple weeks, so it should go pretty quick.
And that's all I have for updates.
All right, any suggestions for agenda for the next meeting? Do we want to meet next month, or do we want to bypass September?
Probably should meet,
I
try to
think
meet.
with budget.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, I thought we would ask.
It's perfect time.
I'm hoping we're almost get there.
Somewhere around the 12th? That's Tuesday the 12th. Does Tuesday work for everybody?
Great work. Right.
I can check my calendar in my office just to make sure that. I think it's the, yeah.
Well, it's tentatively do the 12th unless there's a conflict.
Yeah.
And we can find a new date. And 5:30 looks good for everybody? It was
Yep.
great for me.
Yeah.
Didn't have to
Fun.
rush. All right. If you have anything for on the agenda, then contact Ashton or Adam. Go from there.
Sounds like we get the band.
Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second? Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?